Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. COVID-19, 1 year later. Where are we now? It was about a year ago when COVID-19 hit Wuhan, China. And Weifeng and I know very well because we were here in China at that particular time. We didn't take it very seriously. Nobody in this area, other than in Wuhan, took it very seriously. But it wasn't very long until that whole area was locked down. There was like, I don't know, 60 million people in lockdown or even more. And the world was sort of looking at it saying, what's going on there? And the world wasn't taking it very seriously either. People like Donald Trump saying, don't worry about it. We've got the best healthcare professionals in the world. We don't have anything to worry about. A lot of people blame China for eating bats and pangolins and stuff like that. They pointed their finger at China and said, look at their authoritarian governments locking all these people down, quarantining all those millions of people. How dare them take their rights away? Oh my God, why would they do this to their own people? As I say, fast forward a year to today. It's just before Christmas 2020, and this has been a hell of a year. One of the worst years in history, bar none. Maybe you get into the world wars and stuff like that, and it was worse, but I think they've had more deaths this year than ever before. I think that there's been more economies tank this year than any year before. There's been more small businesses and large businesses go out of business. A lot of retail businesses have died. There's a lot of people have lost their jobs. Unemployment is soaring through the Western world, and it's just hasn't been a very good year. COVID-19 has stopped everybody dead in their tracks around the world, except in China. China dealt with it in the first 6 months, and they were starting from ground zero, not knowing anything about what they were dealing with. But because of their authoritarian government, as everybody else said it was, out there in the real world, as the free world as they call it, pointing their fingers, but now all of these countries, the UK's got a more contagious version of it, and they're being locked down. The countries in Europe have said, we're not taking passengers. Planes from Europe or from the UK don't come here because you're not allowed. So they're being segregated from that area of the world. Thailand, here not too long ago, a lady got sick in a seafood market. Yes, ring a bell, guys and girls. A seafood market in Thailand, and it has ballooned into over 1,000 cases today in Thailand. So Thailand's being locked down. They were going to open up their borders to tourism from around the world. Now that's not happening. Why do you think that all of this is happening in the world? Is it because they're not taking it serious enough, or seriously like China has in the past and does to this day? Think about it. If you come to China, you're being locked down for 14 days in a hotel at your expense. You're going to take a COVID test before you get on the airplane, and if it's negative, then you can get on the airplane. But you're still 14 days in quarantine when you get to China. Doesn't matter who you are, every single person. Okay, in that 14-day time period, you're taking 3 more COVID tests. If you get negative on all of those after the 14 days, they will cut you loose. If not, you're in for a longer hauler, buddy. And this is going to go on as long as there is COVID in the world. And but you go to a place like Canada, you jump on an airplane, nobody really gives a rat's ass. You self-quarantine in your own home. You phone in and say, yeah, I'm staying at home. But when you go home, if you're a father off on a business trip somewhere else in the world, you come home, you got a wife, you got kids, those kids go to school, your wife goes to work, you're with them, they get sick, you get sick. You know what I mean? That's just not the way it's going to work. And this is why the Western world is in such dire straits. Not just the Western world. There's, as I say, places like Thailand that have problems. There's places in India and South America, and basically everywhere else in the world that isn't doing what China did. So rather than try to belittle or try to point a finger at China and try to blame China for the Wuhan virus that started in a seafood wet market, just like it did in Thailand this last little while. But in Thailand, they're not blaming Thailand for anything. They'll blame China, of course. But back in the Wuhan days, they pointed their finger at China and said, China bad, dirty wet markets, eating bats and pangolins and things like this. But then after things sort of filter through a little bit more, they found it prior to the Wuhan thing in the sewers of Spain. They found it in the United States that predated the Wuhan outbreak. I was going to say new Wuhan virus because, and that's how they get you. They do it on mainstream media. They tell you it over and over and over again. And it sort of filters into your brain subconsciously, the China virus, the Wuhan virus, the Kung flu, all of these things that all of these people in mainstream media and higher up in politics have been telling you and me and everybody around us for the last year. And it's a form of brainwashing. The more you hear it, the more you believe that may be the word for it. So I think the idea of the blame game is over. I think the idea that places like Australia, places like the United States and the UK and Canada and Brazil and all of these countries around the world need to, after 1 year of trials, need to start taking this very seriously. They need to lock their countries down. They need to quarantine everybody. They have to do mass testing for COVID-19. They have to do exactly what China did, and they have to beat this thing back. Sure, there's a vaccine out there. Now you've got the people that say, I'm an anti-vaxxer, you can't make me take a vaccine. It's just like the anti-maskers, you're taking away my rights. Then you get the people that work in a restaurant, an anti-vaxxer in a restaurant. Does the employer have the right to fire this person if they don't take a vaccine? Do you warn your patrons that this person's an anti-vaxxer? Where's their rights? Can the government mandate this? What about your civil rights? And holy smokes, it's just like in China, they say you take the vaccine and you just take the vaccine. They say you lock down for 14 days. You lock down for 14 days. If you don't, they'll put you in jail for those 14 days or probably more. And that's the way that the Chinese actually beat this. The only virus that's in China now is stuff that comes in from outside. And it's not nice to say this, but China beat this thing and the rest of the world didn't. China's reaping the economic rewards for beating this thing quickly and dealing with it so dramatically. And like when you're locking down 60 million people in a province in China, 60 million people, like twice the population of Canada, you're not going anywhere. You bring in the military feeds these people, they got military doctors, hospitals are being built like overnight just to deal with this stuff, and the rest of the world's looking and saying, don't worry about it, we've got the best doctors in the world, we have nothing to worry about it, it'll just disappear in the spring. And all of this bullshit that they went through. And now a year later, the Western world, the outside world, and we'll call it the outside world because it's basically everywhere except for China, the outside world is still in the COVID-19 epidemic, where in China, they're not. You look at these people behind us here, she's got a chin strap, but it's not really a mask. People aren't wearing masks. People are back to their normal world. People are back to their normal life. In China, people are in the parks, people are going to work, people are riding the subway, people are jumping on airplanes, people are, and that's just it. The rest of the world is taking the economic hit now, and there's just no way around it. Lock your people down. Stop what you're doing. Stop everything. Do what China did. 3 or 4 months down the road, you can open back up again, and everything will be hunky-dory. If you don't, I'll be making another video December 2021, and I'll be saying exactly the same thing, probably standing in the same spot. Hey, look at Nanning's a beautiful place, China's a beautiful place, and although they do have some authoritarian rules, when shit hits the fan and the rubber hits the road, boys, this is the type of place I would rather be during an epidemic. So sometimes it works against you, sometimes it works for you. Every government is different. Every government wants to run things their own way. I can understand that. But under these circumstances, this is the type of government you need, or you need to get your government. You got to give your government the authority, the okay to go ahead and do this stuff, or else a year from now we're going to be doing the same thing. Will the vaccine work? I don't know. I bet you not everybody will take it. I bet you that it'll still be a lingering thing. Will it mutate? Will it this? Will it that? I don't know. But I'll tell you, in 12 months from right now, I'll be back giving you an update on this. Anyway, that's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button. Don't forget to resubscribe because YouTube still hates me. And never forget to put a couple bucks in the children's Patreon account. It's for a good cause. Children are always a good cause. Thanks for watching. Bye now.